Hey! I got some explaining to do. Hello, and welcome to another bundle episode! We are kicking off the return of the channel with a very highly requested video, sharing with you all of my characters, Fursonas, and Fursuits. Basically just all the different shapes and forms that I don in this fandom. To me, the difference between a character and a Fursona is Fursonas are characters that you can, identify with in some way. Whether it's how you see yourself, or your ideal self, or a manifestation of a version of yourself, there is some part of you in this character. And as a result of that, you usually feel a really strong connection with them. So the normal characters, while still can contain a part of you, are ones that aren't necessarily you, and you are consciously having the character represented as its own thing, like its own entity. You might be building your own lore, you might just enjoy getting to escape into someone else's shoes, or you might just like collecting cool characters for the sake of it. Man, imagine being someone who does that. Couldn't imagine that ever. So I actually already made a video like this once before. However, that was November 2018. And as you may have guessed by the intro, a lot has changed. Like, a lot. Let's just answer what I'm sure is the biggest question on everyone's minds. Why have I sold so many previous characters and suits? Trust me when I say it's never an easy choice, nor one I like making, especially when it comes to fursuits. However, at the end of the day, characters and fursuits are a luxury and a non-necessity. So whenever I find myself in some sort of financial strife and needing to make adult decisions, because I'm an adult and I gotta do adult things, they're some of the first things that I heavily consider. Times like the 5 moves I've done since 2018. Or, the whole pandemic thing. Don't know if you forgot about that or not. Or all of my burnout that rendered me unable to make videos these last few years. It always sucks, but I know all my past characters and suits are in wonderful homes, and honestly, they are just things. I've still got plenty of time left on this earth to build new bonds with new characters and new suits. So with that, let's go over them all. Starting with Fursuits. The newest and most obvious one being the one that you're looking at right now, Pocari 3.0. Pocari 3.0 arrived in September 2022 and was made by one of my ultimate dream fursuit makers, Skypro Costumes. A fair few years ago, a friend of mine let me try on their Skypro head, and I was sold from there. It was so light, it was so comfortable, and immediately I'm like, oh my god, I need to commission this maker. Skypro is run by Eno, who I'm sure a lot of you would recognize as the one and only Telephone. Eno performs in Telephone a lot at so many cons in so many different locations, and that's the kind of durability that I really needed from a Pocari suit, so I knew that they would be the perfect maker for 3.0. And boy, was I correct! There is a lot of thoughtful ventilation put into the head, the padding is super light, the fit is perfect. This is the kind of suit that I can comfortably wear for hours, which I have been able to do in all the iterations of Pocari, but the craftsmanship in the details of this one gives me that little bit more to make the suit go from comfortable to forgetting I'm even wearing it sometimes. I especially love my hand paws, look at them! I didn't realize how much I'd miss having thumbs. I did also make an unboxing video from when the suit arrived, so be sure to go check that one out sometime. The next fursuit that has happened since the previous video is Lumpy. Yeah, after all these moves he's been through, he's a little worse for wear. Like, it's almost like he was made in a rush by someone who has never made suits before or something. I don't know. Yeah, this is my, suit that I made during the pandemic for a video, and he's still here. I don't really use him, he kinda just sits in the workshop and, keeps the demons away. And that's it for new fursuits. I don't have anything else in the works. We'll talk about him later. As for my previously existing ones, you've met them before, but let's go over them for anyone new. We've got Zoot, the Pancan. Pancans are a hybrid species that are part red panda, part toucan. Zoot is inspired by my green cheek conyo, who was my best bud, but unfortunately passed away quite suddenly a fair few years ago. Designing this character was a way for me to not only help process the grief, but to honor and remember him moving forward. This character possesses the same personality traits that he did, and is just an extremely silly little guy who is here to have fun and bring smiles. One of Zoot's favourite foods was raspberries, which he'd always make an absolute mess of all over his face, so that's why I gave the character that little red stripe on the beak there. The head was made by Groovy Goat Costumes, who very kindly gifted them to me, and the tail was made and gifted to me by Dancer's Vault. He is a super duper special character, and I love him a lot. Worm. My next one is Scamp, the Budgie Dragon. Scamp was designed by Madshai, and I was lucky enough to snag her when she was an adoptable. Scamp is a very sweet character. She loves snuggling up in a mountain of blankets, gouging on marshmallows, and being just no thought head empty. Her head was made by Fursuits as an absolutely incredible gift that they surprised me with at MFF 2018. She is such a fun suit with Velcro eyelids and magnetic eyebrows that will stick pretty much anywhere on her face. Not to mention the hand-sewn stripes on her ears. It's an absolutely wonderful suit. Now, I don't know if Fursuits is still making suits. Like, their Telegram channel has been dormant since 2020, but I know Virus, the person who ran it, is still around, so hey, if you're there, Virus, just know that I still love and appreciate you immensely, and I hope you're doing well. Then, the only other suit that I currently have is, of course, Pocari 1.5. My very first ever fursuit, the classic boy. I've talked about the Pocari origin story a lot, so long story short, back in 2013, I decided that I was going to get my first suit, but I didn't want to use my actual persona in case it turned out to be something that just wasn't for me. Inspired by Monsteroo, I made my very own soda-roo based on one of my favourite drinks, Pocari Sweat. I commissioned More for Less, and he arrived in April 2014. Absolutely loved him to bits, and a few years later, when More for Less started doing their newer style of eyes, I sent him back to them for a refresh and an upgrade, which is why I call him 1.5 and not 1.0. He underwent a design change a couple of years later, as I discovered how annoying it is to maintain white fur. Don't put white on your feet or your tail. It's a dumb idea, don't do it! And this new design was the one that was used for 2.0 by 8-Bit Works and onwards. When I sold the 2.0 suit, I naturally wasn't selling the character with it, so he's since had some small changes by the new owner. Now, I want to respect the privacy of anyone who owns previous characters and suits from me, so it's up to them if they want to come and be like, hey, I have the thing. If you want to see more of the thing, come follow me in the place. So if I see them, I'll do like a little repost so you can find them. And yeah, in April this year, we are approaching the 10-year anniversary of Pocari as a suit, which is absolutely wild. I'm going to have to think of something very special for the occasion, I think. And that's it for all my suits. Like, I love fursuits so much. However, as I've gotten older, I found my priorities shifting a bit. Right now, I'd much rather drop $5,000 on a nice holiday away somewhere, or the new furniture for the house, rather than a new suit. Though I might make an exception if a Rito suit's open for a commission slot, but I don't like my chances. Now, for my Fursonas. My primary persona that you'll see me as when I'm not being the Blue-Roo is Dizu the Bunny Devil. She's part rabbit, part Tasmanian devil. Rabbits are one of my most favourite animals, and I identify with them a lot. And I'm also born and raised Tasmanian, whose favourite food is meat, so the hybrid made perfect sense. She is the most literal version of me, so she always shares the same identities and interests that I do. She also really helps my work-life balance, as while I love and adore being Pocari, being him is also a part of how I make my living. Which is cool, as by the way, like, I feel very lucky to be in this position. But like any job, you need to be able to take off your coat, hang up your apron, put the equipment away, and have that time where you are just living your life without any work anywhere near you. So that's why Pocari remains as a character separate from any personal personas I have. My secondary persona is Laku. You might remember him from previous videos. Laku is a wolf dragon that I bought as an adoptable by Pregtail, all the way back in the far-off year of 2013. I immediately identified with the moment I saw him, and he's been my secondary persona ever since. He's the version of me that gets things done. He does all the business talk, he does all the accounting, he makes the plans, and he executes them. If a problem suddenly arises, he's the one that calmly comes up with a solution. While Dizu is in the corner, having an anxiety meltdown. Yeah, basically he's more grounded and assertive, which are things that I always need to work on, so he definitely falls into the more ideal self category for personas. My third persona is actually a brand new one since my other videos. Meet Senka, a Cerberus. I've been wanting a Cerberus character for ages, and when I saw this adopt by Troublemaker Studios, I knew I had finally found the perfect one. At first, she was just a character, but I found myself relating to her more and more in my indecisive moments, because sometimes I feel like just three heads all arguing with each other at all times. So I made her a persona instead. Each head makes up a part of the name. So you got Sen, Ka, and yeah, just the apostrophe. It was too tragically hilarious for me to not do that for the most pessimistic and self-destructive head. Sen is more manic and makes rash decisions, while Ka thinks things more thoroughly, but has trouble committing. By their powers combined, we have my spiraling anxiety. I'm a very visual person, so it actually really does help me to sort my thoughts into 3 separate heads. My fourth persona is my plush sona, Knapsack. Knapsack is a kemet, part cat, part rabbit, and 100% lushy. She's me when I'm like maximum EP, non-verbal, maybe a little espresso depresso, just hanging in there the best that I can. I also have a bad habit of being rather aloof and spatially unaware, like I'll walk through a door but still hit the side of the door frame because I was just absolutely in my own little world. So Knapsack gets that part of me too, sorry buddy. She also sports a magical pouch. Normally it's just to hold things like band-aids and sewing kits, but it's one of those like pocket dimension things where it's bigger on the inside. And if you were to go inside, you'd be met with an incredibly cozy pillow fort full of plushies and blankets. Knapsack will offer this space up to her friends when they're feeling down and they really need an escape. There's no real meaning behind the whole pouch thing. I just thought it was a really cute idea to have a pillow fort pouch dimension. If I had the budget for a new suit, Knapsack is absolutely who I would get made. I want a plush suit so bad. My fifth and final persona is also my newest character, River. I've had this character stuck in my head for a while, but after meeting Karlak in Baldur's Gate 3 and watching Husband Hotel, I finally had the inspo I needed to get her out. The base lines for the rabbit are by Sniggle, and everything else is by me. There's a lot of personal things that I put into this character, things that I'm like still kind of processing and working out, so I'm not super comfy going into depth about her to thousands of people just yet, but I'm really stoked with how she turned out, and so I still wanted to show you. Alright, moving on to all of my characters. I have like over 20 characters now, so I'm going to try and keep it short and sweet. Going in alphabetical order, we'll start things off with Adezu, the Tazzy Devil. This was actually my original persona before I lost connection and changed it to the bun. Most people just called me Dizu anyway, so that's why I dropped the A when I was making my Banu self. I sold the suit without any character rights because I still really enjoy Adezu as a character and she's a big part of my history. Plus I have art of her from some of my favorite all-time artist legends like Sanjuhai, Volvi, One-Eyed Doe, Rot. They're some of my most favorite pieces ever. She's a spicy edgelord, I love it a bit. And hey, maybe I might rework the design someday, give the design a bit of a refresh. Next is Aori, super adorable griffin character that I snagged as an adoptable. I haven't done much with her, like I imagine she'd live in a mountain range somewhere and be a local legend of sorts, but I haven't thought about it too heavily. I just really like the design. I just think she's neat. Then we have Asahiru. Yes, I have another Sonoru character. She's based on Asahi beer, which is one of the favorite drinks of the human behind the room. And I do occasionally do streams as her. I made it because sometimes when I'm going live, I want to just be my authentic Aussie self, which means less PG sort of language, so I don't want her to keep Pocari the pure boy that he is. Next up is another adoptable that I grabbed. This is Bink. Bink is an anthropomorphic Furby that was designed by Clowngrin. I love Furbies and I love budgies, so this design was pretty much just baited specifically for me. My childhood Furby's name was Binky, so that's where the name came from. Then we have a character that you might have seen around before, Burabado. Burabado is a corgi dinosaur hybrid who is the mascot for the printing business of the same name. So we acquired him when we acquired the business too. And what's that? You want to know more about this Burabado boobadee-badappa booraboo-doo? I'm a scat man! Well, let me just conveniently segue into that. Today's video is brought to you by me. My other half and I run Burabado together, and we do all sorts of printing and production such as stickers, shirts, hoodies, art prints, and even car wraps now. We do all kinds of custom things, but we also have a web store where you can just browse all kinds of awesome merch designed by ourselves and the artists that we've partnered with. When you grab a design, you also support the person who designed it. In fact, the shirt that I'm wearing right now is called Mech Wolf Meltdown, ooh, and this was designed by my lovely Kiba. The detail on this thing is absolutely insane. Like, she worked on it for like a week straight, and you can see why when you get up and close. On top of that, it's UV reactive. Like, oh my god, this looks so cool. The camera doesn't do it justice. Oh my, yeah, it's just so good. And even when it's not under UV, the fluorocolors themselves are brilliantly bright to the point where the camera that you're seeing it from right now isn't picking it up properly. It is so much more vibrant in person. Head to burabado.com or click the link in the description. It would really mean a lot if you could check us out and tell others about us. I really want to grow the business enough so that I can afford to come to conventions internationally again, so any and all support is immensely appreciated. And if you sat through this whole thing, thank you. Continuing on though, next we have C Double Sharp, the Amp Wave. I got them as an adoptable from Wild Dog Beats, who is one of the co-creators of the species. The other creator, Slumber Yodi, even did this art of him as well. It's so cool, I love it. I love amp waves as a species, and I'd love to make some kind of like, reactive music visualizer out of him sometime. And I like to imagine that he talks like the dubstep bees out of Kipo. From there we have Halvard. Really amazing character that was actually in the original video as well, so he's still here. The artist and designer is Varney/Luxbites, and they've since gotten a mountain of bewares on them for not following through on commissions, so love that for me. Next is my pony character, Honeybubble. I made her pretty much right after Gen 5 debuted and I saw the movie. I was working at Lush at the time, so that is sort of what I based her around. She runs a spa and she makes soaps and bath bombs. Her name and her cutie mark actually comes from my favorite Lush product ever, the Scrubby. Shout out to my fellow Scrubby enjoyers. Following Honeybubble is another character who is still here from the last video, Mai. Mai is a golden tiger by Jinxus, and I really love this design, and I love golden tigers, so I couldn't pass this one up. She's one of my top characters that I would love to have as a suit someday if I won the lottery or something, because with markings like that, oh boy, she would be understandably pricey. Man, it would be an incredible suit though. Whew. Next is Nemu. Nemu is an Ingari, an open species created by Vane Elton. I bought him as an adopt because I really love the color scheme, I love plushy characters, plus he's giving Nidoking, and I'm so here for it. Though, as I was writing this video, I've gone to Vane Elton's socials to get a refresher on the Ingari lore, and they're gone? I wanted to feature the Ingari in an original species video at some point later, and while I do still have the original info doc, all the links appear to be broken. I mean, yeah, it was almost 5 years ago when I bought the adopt, so I'm not sure what's happened since then. But yeah, if anyone knows what happened to Vane Elton or the Ingari species in general, please fill me in. My next character is actually another open species, Nixie the Tiba. Let me just roll the TikTok that I made when I first discovered the species. New species just dropped! New species just dropped! Say hello to Tibus! Look, it's me! They were created by Mr. Tallycat here on Twitter, and they have gone all out. We've got really well fleshed out PDFs and everything. So what is a Tiba?
The basic build of a Tiba is wide and stocky with large paws and ears. Their body shape is similar to that of the grizzly bear, with slight variations between the two breeds. Also similar to bears, Tibas have the ability to stand on 2 legs, or 4. Look at the little bean! But the main thing that really sold me was this. Another key trait of the Tiba is the belly pouch. This trait occurs in both sexes. Everyone gets a pouch! Pouches are so good! You've got all like the main variants, you've got the Cabo Tibas, which are your big beefy boys, and then you got your cute little Mazai Tibas. They're like really cute forest dwelling creatures, and they can even moon bake. They bake in the moon to get energy! Ah! And they've got all the lore as well, you know, like they've got holidays, they've got a language, like this is super duper in depth and I love it so much. The cat even made me my very own custom one as well. So meet Nixie, my newest character. They're a Mazai Tiba with the Mohawk variant, and I love them so much. Oh my god, I'm obsessed.
So yeah, be sure to check out Mr. Tallycat on Twitter to see those info PDFs. They are a completely open species, which is awesome! So everything you need to know about rules and restrictions are in those PDFs as well. Definitely check out Tibas, they're amazing! Mr. Tallycat is the biggest sweetheart and has done such a good job with this species. I highly recommend looking into Tibas if you want a brand new character that has heaps and heaps of lore to help develop it. I really want to dedicate a whole video to Tibas, so stay tuned for that. Moving on, we have Sparkles! Yet another adopt that I came across and really liked, and you know I'm a sucker for Sparkle Dogs. Her design is a lot more simple than my other Sparkle Dog character, who you will see very shortly, so it's nice to have a Sparkle Dog on both ends of the design complexity spectrum. So with that, let's talk about my main Sparkle Dog, Spraggle. Spraggle is a design by the incredible Elk Dragon, who is one of my all-time favorite artists, especially for when it comes to designs. Spraggle is a manic raver kid who never has a bad day, and definitely would eat a glow stick if you left them unattended. Now, as I'm sure a lot of you know, Spraggle is actually in the making to become a fursuit. Or, he was. I don't even know anymore. He was being made by Groovy Goat Costumes, who, if you remember, is the same person that made and gifted me Zoot's head. It's been literally years now, so my memory is pretty fuzzy on how exactly it all went down, but we're all the way back in early 2018, and they offered to make Spraggle for me, but way undercharging at just material costs because they just really wanted to make it. And I'm like, are you absolutely sure about this? Like look at him! This is gonna take you forever! But they were happy to give it a go. I paid, I got work in progress pics, and it was all just going nice and easy breezy smooth. The last photo I got was June 2019, and the last we were in contact was May 2020. I don't know what happened. I remember they were dealing with like a lot of ups and downs with their suit making as a business, and I'm not sure if they just got like chased off the internet or what, but I hadn't exactly reached out to them either, so I just kind of left it. Especially after they gave me such an affordable price for it, the last thing I want to be is a choosing beggar. Then recently, when I did a short video prompting questions for a new Q&A video very soon, so many of you were asking for progress on the Spraggle suit. I am shook you guys even remembered. I sent Groovy Goat a message right before starting this video, and as of me recording this right now, my message still remains unread. So, I don't know. Let me know in the comments. What would you do in this situation? Fursuit drama aside, Spraggle is one of my most beloved characters, and I always adore commissioning art of him and channeling his wild energy. Next up is another Elk Dragon designed character, Waver. Waver is a glowhound, which is a species that I'm pretty sure Elk came up with, but hasn't really been defined. I'm fairly sure it's like primarily a canine with monster-like features and really bright glowing markings. Waver is a bit more maniacal and sadistic of a character, but also enjoys blasting hardstyle 24/7. He's another character that was in the original video too, so he's still here, and I love him heaps. Okay, I've actually got 5 more characters to show you before we reach the end, but I really wanted to give them their own section, as these characters are all designed by my good friend, Sijn, who is, and I say this with all the love in the world, a chronic character creator. And you should totally go follow them and check out their awesome arts. So over all the years that I've known them, they have made me 5 characters in total. I'm going to show you them in chronological order as well, so you can actually see how well their art has progressed over time. Starting with Peel the Possodile. Part possum, part crocodile, might burn your house down if you look at them the wrong way. Just a raging gronk in all the best possible ways, and I love it. Then we have Marble, the Sparkle Dog. They be pure chaos, and I'm so here for this energy. I don't think I'll be able to draw them, like, ever, but it's a super cool character that I love having. Next is this super duper cute little puppo called Zip, who is a matching twin to Sin's own puppo Zap. So, we got Zip Zap, just two puppos sharing a single brain cell. They're way too cute, and oh my god, they would be the cutest matching suits someday. And then we have Pixis, the Fluff Dragon. Sin made her with me to help me out with a few things I was going through at the time, and I gotta say, it really helped a lot. Like, character therapy. Go figure. I might even make her a Fursona eventually, but she's still fairly new, so I'm still kind of like building on that connection, but she already means a lot to me at this stage. And lastly, but not leastly, is Vatra. If you can't already tell, we had just finished watching the final episode of Husband Hotel. They really wanted to try designing a character in the Husband style, and Vatra is what manifested. They also made their own husband character after that, and I am obsessed with them both. Like, they would absolutely be a dynamic duo causing all kinds of trouble. And that is it! You now know all of my current fursuits, Fursonas, and characters that I have at this moment on this day in February 2024. If you could steal any one of my characters or Fursonas, which one would it be and why? Let me know in the comments below, I'm really curious. Thank you so much for watching, especially making it this far in this video that was way longer than I meant it to be. I forgot just how many characters I have now. So I really appreciate you being here, it helps out a lot. Please do go check out Burabado when you've got the time, and be sure to go follow me on Twitch as well. I've been doing regular streams every Friday, well, Australian Friday, so it's like usually 9-10 AM Fridays Australian time. You should come by and say hey sometime. In other news, I did recently reopen my PO box as well, so here is that one on screen if you would like to utilize that as well. Thanks so much again for watching. I appreciate you still sticking around. We're coming back this year. We are back. Hope you are staying safe and staying awesome, and I will see you in the next video. Have a good one.